Cool. Okay, great. Well, I'm so excited for our book club today. It's a super special edition of our book club because we're speaking with the author herself, which is very exciting. So, today we're going to be discussing 28 Secrets to Glow Up. And I'd love, Marianne, if you want to just introduce yourself, and Daryl. And I'm just so excited to dive in and learn more about the behind the scenes of the book and get to ask you some questions.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much for having me. So I know Daryl from acupuncture school. We went to school together. We both graduated in 2010, and I moved to the Midwest. My family's from the Midwest. So I have an acupuncturist background. I'm also an esthetician, so I practice skincare. I am based in Indianapolis, and then also I've pursued several life coaching certifications. Just, my practice is very different. I know in Yinova you have multiple rooms. I have a lot of talkers, and it allows me to get to the root of the problem when it's, especially emotional, and helping people support them through stress and lifestyle changes. So yeah, that's big inspiration for this book. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
that's me.
Hi. And for those who don't know me, I'm Daryl. I'm one of the practitioners at Yinova. And Marianne and I, as she said, have been friends for almost 14 years, something like that. I'm like, oh my God, so long. And we have kept up, even though we are not in the same city currently. And the work that she has been doing with women's health and aesthetics and stress management, along with beauty and skincare, has been exceptional. I always refer people who are in the area to her, and from all over, for her life coaching work as well. And this book is something of a labor of love, I would say, and really kind of a self-help guide for those who are looking for a way to just really get comfortable with who they are as, human beings, more than just what you look like, who you are on the inside as well. Emma, do you want to start off with some questions?
Sure, yeah. I mean, first of all, thank you for writing this, because I think it's such an important thing for people to learn how to love themselves and to harness that self-love energy, and it's so healing, I'm sure. And so it's just, you spoke a little bit about your background and how I feel like all of those kind of drive you towards writing a book like this, but I wondered if there was something in particular that inspired you to write this book, like if maybe something that happened, or I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So there are a couple things. One, being a practitioner, I really got tired of saying the same thing over and over again to my patients. So it was kind of like, let me just give them a manual, something really easy to just reference. Remember when we talked about that particular secret, well, you can refer to secret number 24, go back, so it was really nice to just have a compilation of things over, a decade that I've noticed were common recommendations that I made just for people that didn't even know where to start with their health. The second thing was I was on my own fertility journey. I am currently 26 weeks pregnant, and I was having some struggles for a couple of years after having my first daughter. So I really took some action in terms of creating space in my life to have another child. And I even joined the Yinova fertility group. So there were a lot of things that I was doing lifestyle wise that I'm so grateful I can say helped me to be fortunate to get to this point now at 42. So, and then the third thing was my daughter. She's 3.5 now. And, I realized, and I've said this before to other clients and patients and on other interviews, no one gets out alive in this life. No one gets out alive. We all have our stuff. We all came to live and experience lessons and learn. And I wanted to work on my own stuff, so I could make sure I wasn't passing on things that were unfinished to my daughter. So there will be things she will go through, but I feel more equipped being conscious about, you know, addressing my own challenges. And so this is going to sound weird or crazy, but I'm also one of those people that I think, what if I was gone? What would I want to leave behind to her? So this is dedicated to her. And so she will know me if heaven forbid something ever happened. So it sounds a little morbid, but
Well, that took a turn, didn't it?
but no, I'm thinking.
And it really shines through, and that's so beautiful. Maybe slightly morbid, but rooted in so much love.
Oh boy.
So yeah,
But it's true. You always want to put something out there for people to remember you. In a way, it's going back to how we look at the liver and the hun, right? The hun is the ethereal soul. And after we depart, after the po is gone or the corporeal soul is gone, you want something to be able to carry on. And the benevolence of people and it's in here, it's in here like Prego tomato sauce. It's in the book, so not just for Jasmine, but also for your friends, for your family, for your friends and family, and all the people that have knowledge of you and the work you do, is definitely in here. And it's not just like, here's 28 things that you should know and just that's it. It's literally a book that is chock full of information, but also the information that you're doing for yourself. Like, you're literally writing in the book in order to create the story that you tell yourself as well. So it's not just one thing or another.
Right. I wanted doable steps as well, really easy, digestible things that people could walk away with, or they could start with one. And, you get that dopamine hit when you can check mark, done.
Tick the box.
Tick the box. It's complete. So I feel like these are just pretty easy steps, inspired by Chinese medicine. I did my best, especially in the Midwest here. It's like with Chinese medicine, we are translating a medicine, that has been translated from a different language, and then trying to get people to understand there are metaphors involved. And so it's just really trying to simplify where people can apply practical tips to their life and know, like, yes, it's coming from ancient wisdom. It's applicable now to modern day.
That's awesome. Absolutely. So great.
I had a couple of other questions that I would love to ask, if that's all right.
I would assume that would be all right.
I mean, one would hope, right? Otherwise the show's over. We might as well go home, go eat some burgers. Anyway, one of the main things that we were looking at, because in the title, 28 Secrets to Glow Up, what does glow up mean to you? Where did it come from?
Yes. Okay. So glow up. Here's my thing. Being raised in the 80s and 90s, loved when I saw someone get a makeover. Like, have you ever seen those movies? And I think this is even past the 90s, but Hitch or Miss Congeniality, whenever, you see someone like
Kara likes it.
It's not just that they're getting waxed or they're getting, their hair done or colored, their facials. They're actually going through a transformation. And that transformation happens not just physically. It's really, like, I often love how in Chinese medicine, we revere the heart as the house for the spirit, and it reflects through the eyes. So I always say to clients that come to me, if they want to look better, if they want to feel better, it's not just about what you do on the outside. It really is about what you put into your body, what you say to yourself, and then also the self-care rituals that really show that you love yourself. That all, when it integrates and aligns, that's the glow up. So yeah, I just love those movies, are so inspiring. And then to take that into, again, real day, modern life, seeing someone, here's another funny thing, but when I lived in New York, every time I had a breakup. I felt like I was this Scorpio phoenix rising. You know, I'd walk down the streets like, I am it. He's gone. But, you know, I felt lighter, pounds were shed, things just started happening where I felt brighter. And I realized, okay, that's not practical. I'm married. I don't want to divorce my husband. How can I get this glow up?
Yeah. Every time I'm feeling a little bit not so shiny, kick them to the curb.
You know what I'm saying? Like some people, they go through depressions and they, you know, go through challenges. And that's, I've been there too. There are times where it's just like, I want to make a decision to take better care of myself because I've been giving so much attention to someone else. And now I have this space. And so I get to focus on me. And when someone does that, there's also a shift that shows through their Shen, which is the spirit in Chinese medicine. And I just love being able to cultivate that in people that have been feeling unworthy or have not really given themselves the focus and attention and care that they deserve. So that's another thing about glow up for me that's important.
That's so cool. I love that idea of like, because I know what you mean, like every now and then life will kind of hand you a different set of cards, I guess, and it gives you that motivation to make a transformation or that metamorphosis. But I love the idea of bottling that feeling of motivation so that you can kind of like pour it into your morning smoothie at any time without having some big like shift having to happen in order to just work on yourself or manifest a different version of you. Or I love that idea of doing
well,
that.
that's also part of what's been going on this year. I mean, if you think about it, we've all been forced to kind of take a step back or slow down or reconfigure who and what and where sometimes we are.
Reflect.
Absolutely reflect. And this is, you know, a way to assist in that whole process, I think.
Yeah, this has been a massive year for a change, I feel like.
Mhm.
A lot of introspection as we've
Absolutely.
I mean, everyone's naturally separated from things just like lockdown and everything, so it's a lot of thinking time. It's a perfect
Absolutely.
time for this book to be um, read and for people to find it.
Right.
One of the things that I thought was interesting to ask about, you wrote this whole book and you put together all these secrets to glow up. What's your favorite of all the secrets?
Okay. So part of the design of the book too was, let me give some physical secrets and tips. Let me give some emotional, and let me give some mental and spiritual. So the first tip I love is really giving people suggestions about, okay, when you don't know where to start with anything, and I do this with clients and patients that come in here, and they're feeling sluggish or they're feeling tired or they're feeling just anything but radiant. And I like to use the word radiant over beauty because to me, I think beauty is so subjective. Radiance is really, again, that light that emanates from your heart, that shines through your eyes. It's the Shen. And when you are really in that glow up state that's optimal, everything is aligned, that shines through. So that's why I refer to it as radiance. I think if people get stuck and they don't know where to start, I would start with lemon water. I know it seems so simple and so easy, but we get out of tune or we get out of practice or out of habit. So if we start with just in the morning, flushing the liver and the kidneys, drinking your lemon water. I mean, I know when I've fallen out of that tip, when I go back to it, I feel like, okay, I'm starting somewhere, I'm taking care of myself, and then everything else falls in place after that. So I like that tip for a starting point. My favorite tip, which is the last tip, is kiss yourself. And that I ended up walking into my daughter one day. She was looking in the mirror and she was kissing herself. And I was literally thinking like, oh my gosh, I never want this moment to shift, you know, because I work a lot with clients in terms of mirror work and Chinese face reading. Chinese face reading is a branch of Chinese medicine that's an art and science that tells the story of who we came to be, looks at the face as a map. So a lot of times when I'm working on skin and even acupuncture, because I do a lot of cosmetic acupuncture in here. When people tell me they want to get rid of wrinkles, I get to share with them, well, this is what this wrinkle means. This is what it represents. And they start to realize, oh my gosh, I've been conditioned to hate my crow's feet, when really those are joy lines. Or I've been conditioned to fill my nasolabial folds, when those are purpose lines. So I get the benefit of sharing with them, your face really does reflect something deeper about who you are. And a lot of times we receive messages, we're inundated with messages that we need to look a certain way, or beauty is defined a certain way. And because of that, we reject ourselves. When really, if we took some time to look in the mirror and pause and see, you know what, it's okay for me to love who I am. It's okay for me to accept radically and fully the person that I've become, the person that I'm growing into. I may not have the best days today. We all do, right? But it's how we talk to ourselves that really is going to impact a lot of our feelings, which impacts our choices, our behaviors, our decisions, how we operate in the world, how our Shen is just navigating through the world. And so when I saw my daughter kissing herself, it was literally like, I just want to cultivate that in her now. And even after writing this book, I was speaking to an intuitive a couple of weeks ago, and she was even helping me. She gave me a conscious parenting tip, which was really cool. To anytime I say to my daughter, I love you, to say, I love me too. So I'm saying, I love you and I love me too. And that allows me the opportunity now to start teaching her, it is okay to love yourself. It is okay to start at a very young age knowing that is normal, because I think we have been, again, conditioned to think that's vain, or we need to put everybody else first, or it's not okay to love yourself. In fact, when you look at a picture, or you look in your reflection in the mirror, you're supposed to say, well, I look like this and not so great. And I, pick ourselves apart.
So this could be better, or that.
When it would be just so nice to look in the mirror and be like, damn, I look good. I feel good. I love myself. And just blow a kiss to yourself, that Bruno Mars song, I gotta kiss myself, I'm so pretty. Like, so
that's awesome.
Inspiration for your favorite glow up secret. I think that's nice.
Well, speaking to that even as well, so many people are struggling to feel seen as they see themselves, not just whether or not they're actually, attractive looking or anything like that. I'm like holding the book while I'm going. See, that's such good marketing. Am I doing a good job? But people are struggling to see themselves as who they are on the inside: transgender, LGBTIQ, QIA, all of these folks who are struggling with that identity. How do you think the work that you're doing can help any and all humans find and feel comfortable with, as well as share their glow up? Because that's a big thing, I think, in all of this work, is how can we help each other recognize that we are okay to love ourselves however we are?
Yeah, that's a big question. I feel like it's an important question, especially now, given this past year we talked about what's happening with COVID and us all being in a place of reflection, the Black Lives Matter movement, Stop Asian Hate, all of these things are coming up about identity, trans, and I realized, when I wrote this book in the intro, a big part of why I think I started going in the direction of the beauty industry, and I'm so glad I had acupuncture to temper it in terms of the Eastern approach to beauty. I think I had my own struggles growing up, and I'm half Asian, half white, so I've had my own identity issues, with my background. I'm just learning, what's the model minority? What does that even mean? Oh, it means I've been conditioned to be silent for so long. So if someone has told me you're not acceptable because of XYZ, I've just kind of stuffed it down. And now I'm realizing, like, wait a minute, I have a voice too. And I think anybody, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation or preference, religion, class, ableism, should be able to be recognized for their identity, and to be heard. And I think there's just so many facets about this right now that are happening, where you've got some people that, I was talking to Daryl about this earlier this weekend, a lot of times people just want to go to the heart and say they see, we're all one. We don't see color. We don't, we're just people. We love everybody. And I think at the core, yes, that's important. I also feel like the ego is a vehicle for identity, and that we have to recognize these facets in people. We have to understand that people are complex. They don't just fit in one box. And we have to understand that when we engage and we get to know people's stories and really understand the richness of those lives, and we can acknowledge the identity piece, that person feels seen, and that person feels heard and valued. And when they feel that way, then you can get to the heart, then you can connect. And I think that, people need to have that awareness and understanding. A lot of the work I'm doing now is evolving even beyond the acupuncture and beauty, and it's about diversity and inclusion, because I see that that's wanted and needed more than anything now. It's going to be one of the biggest shifts that we all ever see in our lifetimes. So, I really feel like that's where my work is starting to evolve. But a lot of times people hide because they feel like they are not enough. They're not okay. And so I think the beauty industry has been a Trojan horse for me, if you will, to get people in to be like, okay, you thought you were coming to me to fix your wrinkles.
But you're really coming.
But we're really going to be talking about who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And
who do you really want to be?
Who you want to be, what you think, what you say to yourself. Maybe that wrinkle is happening because you keep having this thought about XYZ. Let's get to the root of that and really get to a place of acceptance of who you are, and be that voice for other people to do the same. So I know that was a big answer. It was a big question.
It's actually really important right now. Like, we had also been talking about how, everybody that wants to kind of superficially say that everyone is all inclusive, we're like, everything's a melting pot. Everybody should be able to just melt together. And actually that's not the case. I've found a couple of different spots. I think Marianne had mentioned it once before, that it's, we want to be like a big salad. A salad retains all of its pieces. The cucumber retains its identity. And we just know that, oh, this is a delicious part of the salad, right? So like having all of that together really allows people to know that they have worth, whether or not they meld into a big overarching umbrella of this is how you should be. Everybody should feel safe and comfortable and able to represent themselves as they feel. And that's one of the things I loved about this book, actually, the 28 Secrets to Glow Up. It's literally like, here are all these tools that you can use to allow yourself to be seen and feel comfortable being seen as who you want to be. And here's a way for you to jot it down and figure it out, not just here, I'm telling you what to do. It's, I'm giving you this present for your presence, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, and that also reminds me, people can be even discriminated by age. And that was another thing that made me excited to write a book like this, because when I first talked about, I want to be a voice for healthy aging and give people this, step-by-step process of like how you can really cultivate and take care of yourself. So when you're 50, you're not feeling like you're 50. You're feeling like, I'm not the average, I say air quotes because, that picture's painted. I remember when I was a kid and I thought 40-year-olds are old, and now I'm like, I feel pretty good. So anyways, when I started to put this book together, I had declared in front of a group, I want to really help support people with healthy aging as well. And the facilitator of the group, he was in his 60s, and he was just like, why would anybody believe a 30-something-year-old, And I'm like, well, because I'm turning 40 tomorrow. It was a mic drop moment, because it felt really good to be like, you can't just judge someone by the way they look, and you have to, again, explore deeper and understand all the facets of their identity, not just one. So,
for those who are on the call, by the way, who don't know why I'm making crazy faces, is because I'm literally going to be 49 on Saturday.
And we did some glow up stuff this weekend,
We did some
right?
glow up stuff this weekend,
Hair,
for sure.
skin, nails.
Hair, skin, nails, facial.
What I love too is that while you're teaching people how to love themselves and be more gentle when they're, thinking of themselves, it also kind of shows you how to be more gentle outwardly too. I feel like people might not necessarily label themselves as judgmental or mean. Most people want to feel like they're, kind and accepting, but everyone has those moments where like you might feel critical of yourself and of others. And I think by eradicating one, you kind of iron everything out. I love that image too of the salad. I hadn't heard that before, but
I heard it through a couple of things. Marianne and I had been talking about it a while back, and then also somebody on Instagram had mentioned it during the Black Lives Matter, when it was really at the height last year, probably a few months after right about now. So maybe even before that. And I remember seeing it online, and then a few times shared, obviously. And I just remember thinking how spot on it is. I remember, frankly, being one of those, and I remember writing a thing on it on my own Instagram, like I was one of those white people who literally went on there and would say to everybody, all lives matter, everybody's good, I love everybody. And I cringed reliving that in my head, because I was like, I didn't know any better. But it discounts people, it discounts your lived experience. And I just, since then, do better, be better, do better, be better. We're all, trying to learn and grow. And the more that we recognize where we fall short, the more we can advance and help other people advance, and be more accepting and nurturing and caring and, inclusive of anybody and everybody that crosses our path, especially in our treatment rooms, in our centers, in our work as healthcare professionals, health facilitators, coach, in our role as a coach, and all of that. I think it's really important to be able to recognize, where we are helpful and where we need help ourselves to really hone the message. So there's a lot of that. Another thing that I really wanted to know, and along these lines again, is, can anybody glow up? Like, is that for anybody and everybody? Like, there are men, there are folks who identify as female, but have begun their journey as a human being not female, or what have you. Like, who can glow up? Who is it for? Everybody, anybody? Is it for,
Yeah. So great question. So interestingly enough, in my business is called Project Gorgeous in Indianapolis. 30 to 40% of my client base is male. It's always funny to see a man looking for the Project Gorgeous shingle. So I know he's been vetted, if he's looking for the Project Gorgeous shingle and he's okay with it. A lot of times it's wives telling their husbands, come, go see Marianne. So I bring that up because, anybody can have a transformation when it comes to their physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And I love cultivating that. I feel like it's such a privilege to get people to be open to that. Even just the paradigm shifts, of having a woman say, me first. I know when I put myself first, everyone else is going to benefit. It's not a selfish thing. It's a self-care thing. So when the mom is tired and she realizes, oh my gosh, I haven't been up on my self-care.
Hold on one second. Sorry.
So somebody was calling.
Oh,
Um, I wonder what that clip looked like. That probably
You were
was
like,
it looked like it froze for a second, and I thought it might have been me.
nope.
but yeah, I mean, there's just I really love to help people with the paradigm shift. Something, Emma, you had said about us being kinder to ourselves allows us to be kinder to others. It's true. Anytime I see someone feeling or just reacting or not being so nice or being judgmental, not being helpful, I often wonder, like, what are they saying to themselves? I know what they're saying outwardly. I can only imagine the conversation that's going on inside their heads and the things that they're saying to themselves and the thoughts that they're thinking. And so if I can cultivate a shift or at least foster the initiation of that in anyone, no matter what identity factors are at play, I want to do it. That's my ultimate goal. So
Awesome.
so yes, anyone can glow up.
And would
Anyone
you
can start with
say,
lemon water
would you
and
say
kiss
that-
themselves in the mirror
Yeah,
and everything in between.
literally.
would this be good
It-
for like
it-
teenagers too? Like, I feel like it's so hard. I mean, thinking of your daughter inspiring some of your tips, would this be good for people on the younger side of the age spectrum?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I feel like a lot of times one of the moments in our lives that are pivotal is what happens when we're 10. When we're 10 years old, things can really get imprinted upon us. And at that stage, it's when people are starting to enter into puberty and to becoming a teenager. It's a very vulnerable time of their lives. And so I think it's really important and to be able to catch before someone gets to 20 plus, those formative years, in helping them to shift the way they think. That's again why I'm starting with my daughter. And I love you and I love me too. Another thing I was sharing with Daryl, I'm training myself to, I'm not calling her bossy, because when a boy is directive, he's a leader. When a girl is directive, she's bossy. So just starting to look at things differently, and like, what are we saying to ourselves and how's that impacting? So yeah, I think starting at an early age is phenomenal. Doesn't mean they're going to get out alive.
They are going to build habits that can be helpful for themselves and for their friends on the playground and anybody they encounter. I remember when I was a kid and my mom, and I don't remember this obviously when I was little, but my mom's like, oh, you were so good because we imprinted this behavior on you. Like, hey, come, like would give me my own place setting in my high chair and I just would sit. Is every kid going to be like that? No, of course. My brother was a terror. Don't tell him I told you, but it was the truth. Like he would.
Isn't he going to work at Yinova?
We weren't gonna.
Oh, no, edit that out.
No. The thing of it is that Marianne has her next child on the way. We don't know how he will be. We just know that we have tools to help people, find their way.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be exactly the way that we have been, but it's a way to move forward.
And I mentioned nobody gets out alive as a joke, but really, like, I would love for people to get to that point where, we get to centenarian status and we revere that as something that's admirable. If you go to other cultures, you see elders are honored. And here, if you're older, quote older,
Yeah.
you're not of value, you're not of use. And so, shifting that paradigm also, young or old, again, everybody loves to be seen and valued and heard. I know whenever I conduct a Chinese face reading and people get the opportunity to share their stories, I ask them questions based on like what I see in their face. When they share about their lives, the Shen starts to shift. They start to show their faces more open, their lines soften. again, that radiance starts to come through after they've really felt like someone has heard their story and who they are. So yeah, I mean, it's deep stuff. Again, beauty industry, beauty
But that's the
practices.
thing, beauty is not just skin deep. It's
Right.
just, there's more to it. You know, like you said, radiating is such a huge thing. And it's literally on the back of your book. The world craves your radiance, literally.
Love
And
that.
so, and that's the truth, because when our light is shining brightly, it kind of turns the light on for others, or it allows others to recognize that they can also shine their light.
That's right.
And that's really the big takeaway I find from this book. Like my thing is just really being able to connect with yourself, and kind of, it's similar in nature to something that you would use as writing, almost like a diary, or things like that, but it's much more than that, because it's really allowing you to kind of hit that wattage all the way up, really just connect with it and how you want to engage others. And right now, it's something that's sorely missed. Critical thinking, we were talking about today, is something that's really missing. And this is a way, when I feel like when you're able to get connected to yourself, you're able to become more of a critical thinker, and really not just fall prey to different patterns that are put in front of you. And so this allows you to really get to the heart of it for yourself, rather than just follow along. Like anybody can go and get any of the services that we all provide, but this allows them to understand why do I need these services, why am I craving them, why do I want them to help me be a better representation of myself in the world.
Yeah, thank you for reflecting that. I mean, that was an intention of mine with the journaling piece,
Mhm.
because the heart meridian does travel through the arm out the fingertips, and so when we write, we really are speaking the language of the heart, even more so than when we type. And so I wanted to give space for that too, for people to be able to come to their own conclusions and anchor again those practices in. So yeah, it's it is a labor of love, and it's my first but not my last. So
Well, I feel like you have so much wisdom to share with people. It just feels like this definitely could not be your last. You've got so much to share with people, and it's all so wonderful.
thank you so much. Yeah.
I wanted to ask, I know that we're inching towards the end, but I wanted to ask if there was any significance behind the number 28, or how did you pick the 28 secrets? And were there any that didn't, speaking of maybe more books, were there any that didn't make it into the list?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So 28 for me was just giving people something to do even month plan, and then rinse and repeat. So I've learned through even certain programs I've experienced 7 steps. If I go in again and do those 7 steps and then do them again, there's different layers that you start to experience. So again, small digestible wins that people can do for a month, because I feel like when you get to that 30-day mark, you really start to get momentum and traction. So I wanted something that was close to that. And then secrets that didn't make it into the book, a big part of a lot of what I'm inching towards, again, with the identity piece and getting to the heart, is mirror work. And that's coming soon. I'm working on a card deck, and it will involve facial lines and explaining what those lines mean, but also prescriptive acupressure points that people can do to love their face and love their life from it. So yeah, I'm excited to go in that direction. And the cards are going to be inclusive, so we're going to see a lot of different representations of beauty and or radiance, so with inspirational figures. So I'm excited that this is the
So
next
cool.
step.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that, and that's such a cool next chapter for you.
Yeah, I found a really great artist, so I'm excited about this. Daryl knows I've been wanting to do a card deck for a time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's out there.
Mhm. And now it's really out there because it's recorded and people have seen this.
Yes.
I'll hold you to it. We're very excited.
Thank you.
Well,
I wonder if anybody, I know that we have a handful of folks who are, tuning in. If anybody has any questions that they also might want to ask based on everything that we've talked about, or if you've had any that have been sent in or whatnot. Now's the time.
I feel like I have another question that I could ask while someone thinks about their question if they had one. Um, so I wondered if in your all of your experience, if there is a common source of stress or a pattern of stress that you see more frequently. Is there like a stress pattern that presents itself more often than others?
Yes. Yes. I'm so glad you asked that question. Um, Gosh, I really do love studying and learning, and through my journey, especially with acupuncture, like there's so much to learn nonstop. You can go in so many directions. Same thing with the aesthetics, the skincare piece. With life coaching, what I've come to understand is at the root of it all, everyone is craving love, safety, and belonging. And that shows up in so many patterns, so many manifestations in everyone. So when someone is not feeling the greatest, it always comes down to that. It's just getting to how it's expressing itself and getting people to recognize it. I see a lot of people reject their worthiness too. That's another pattern that's rampant in are you hiding?
Never.
Feeling like they are worthy to invest in a treatment, invest in their self-care, take the time to slow down, take the time to create space for themselves, take the time to just give themselves the health and care they need. So I feel like getting to that understanding, maybe they were traumatized when they were young and didn't feel safe. Maybe they were traumatized when they were young and didn't feel like they ever belonged. Maybe they were traumatized when they were young and they didn't feel loved, and that was never corrected. And so they held on to that pattern, and it continued to manifest into the expression of an eating disorder or alcoholism, or maybe being a workaholic, and so I can't get pregnant because I'm a workaholic and I'm not willing to face that, but I'm really a workaholic because I feel like I have to hustle in order to belong. That's what I was taught, so there's lots of different expressions, but ultimately it comes down to feeling this sense of love, safety, and belonging. So another big question.
It's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
People need to, recognize these things, because sometimes you don't think about it. We're just hit the ground running from the moment we wake up in the morning, and this is what I need to do for my day, and this is what I'm supposed to do, and I can't take a minute. And then I have people who walk into my office and they're just like shoulders up in their ears, like, I feel fine. And I look at them like, are you sure? Because I don't feel fine looking at you not feeling fine, not recognizing that you don't feel fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then we take a breath and let the shoulders down, and it's like, okay, now what can we work on? And how do we identify all these things that could be causing that kind of disconnect, and then reconnecting with ourselves, with the world entire, because that is a huge thing, I think, and a huge piece to why something like this works. Something like this book will work because again, it's all about that connection. When we're disconnected, nothing really works fully.
Yes. And I mean, something you just said, I think about Mother Teresa and how someone had asked her, like, I want to help the world. And her thing was help the person next to you,
Yeah.
which sometimes the person next to us is really ourselves, going back again to that mirror piece. Look at what you need, start with yourself. It's so cliche, but it's so true. you need to put your oxygen mask on first
Mhm.
when the plane's going down if you want to show up for anyone else. So, I really do notice when I'm up on my self-care, I'm giving myself that love. I'm making myself feel safe. I'm allowing myself a place to feel like I belong. I deserve this. And because I'm benefiting, everyone's benefiting. My husband, my family, my patients, my clients, my friends, my mom, everybody benefits when mama's happy.
Everybody's happy.
Well, it's funny you say that it's so cliche because yeah, I mean, I've heard that analogy of like putting on the oxygen mask, and even I had thought of it throughout this conversation, was going to mention it myself too, but we still need to keep repeating it because it's not really hammered home yet. So there's a reason. I think it's only cliche because we have to keep repeating it because it doesn't quite resonate.
Right, but we keep repeating it because that's not how it was ingrained upon us when we were young.
Right.
When you're young, it's like, all right, get up, time to go to school, go do all the things for everybody, make all these things happen, go here, go, go to sleep when I tell you to go to sleep, go do this when I tell you to do that, go, everybody go do B.
Yeah.
And you're like, but wait, I want to just think for a minute. I want to stop for a minute. I want to kind of find out why for a minute. And if we don't allow space for that, then it's just, okay, I got to go do this because somebody else said I have to go do this, instead of being like, I need that mask first so I could figure out like, well, why? And is that what I need to do? What can I do for me first that will then also impact somebody else?
Yeah. Yeah. And self-care, again, going back to cliches, people think it's bubble baths and, putting a mask on, and
Yeah.
a skincare mask. I want to clarify that in age of COVID right now.
Right.
But really it is about giving yourself space and time to take exquisite care or recognize what you need, and giving it to yourself. I really feel like that is a huge part, again, of this
Yep.
book. So
Yeah, really giving back to yourself in order to be really wholeheartedly steeped in you and your glow.
Yeah. I feel like we've covered so much tonight, and thank you both of you for taking time out of your day to speak about this book and to have this conversation. I know that as soon as we hang up, the conversation won't end. I'll just keep thinking about everything that you said, and there's so much to unpack and to just kind of let resonate and steep, I guess, if you will, and
Yes.
marinate, all of that good stuff. I love the idea of exquisite self-care, exquisitely looking after yourself, and I think those are
Attending to
really,
your needs.
yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Emma and Kara and Tiana and Stephanie and Noah for being here, and everyone else that will watch this, and
Hopefully, yeah.
Daryl too.
Yes, definitely. I'm so glad that we could record this. We'll share it with everyone afterwards, and I'm so excited to watch you grow and see the next chapters and everything. And I feel like I'm already learning so much from you, and I'm just really excited to have gotten to have met you through Daryl. Daryl, thank you for connecting us. And
Likewise. Thank
Well,
you.
that's a big thing that's really important to know about Marianne. You meet her and you hear her and she speaks about the things that she has been cultivating, and you leave feeling like, okay, I need to digest this, and then I want to know more. And that is the sign of a great leader, not a bossy boss, but a great leader, because that's the kind of thing that we need in the world right now, right? Folks who are going to look at other people and say, this is what I have to offer you, and this is how we can make everybody then offer more to each other. Because without that, that's we find ourselves in difficult situations more often than we need to be.
Yeah.
If we just start communicating better and we start really connecting with one another, then we have the ability to really shine, glow, et cetera, et cetera.
Glow getters, yes.
Love that glow getter. Well, sweet. Well, thank you both so much. This has been really, really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
Good to
Enjoy your
see you
evening,
guys.
everyone.
Yes, everyone have a
Thanks for
really-
tuning in. Go get the book. This is the book. You want to buy it. It's on Amazon. It's everywhere.
We'll send a little recap email to everyone who RSVP'd, and we'll make sure to add a link to your book because I think everyone should add that to cart.
Thank you.
Thanks, Em.
Well,
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Have a great
Thank
night.
you.
Good to see you. Ciao for now.